Anyone remember Young Justice? It was some show with Robin and Superboy and Kid Flash or something. That was a pretty good show. Until it wasn't. You see, I pretended I didn't really care about Young Justice, but in reality, I watched every single episode ever released. Alright, in case you don't remember or you're not even aware of what Young Justice is, let me fill you in. Young Justice was a show that started in 2010. 2010? I swear I didn't even know it was that long ago until I started researching for this video. I bet some of you weren't even born back then. I'm having a crisis. Anyway, it was centered on the sidekicks of Justice League members forming their own team to do missions that weren't really worth the Justice League's time. Just think any mission involving a supervillain that your mum would definitely not recognize. Apart from that one episode where they had to fight the Joker and his team, and no one liked that interpretation of the Joker.
Not for any of us! Don't breathe!
And the show got so goddamn popular, it was the introduction for a lot of people to DC. For example, a lot of people assume that the Dr. Fate helmet, once you wear it, you're possessed and you have no control over yourself. But I'm pretty sure that's only a thing in Young Justice. But that's what people think now. It was like one tier below Avatar in the timeless animation scale, aka, yeah, it was made for kids, but the shit they had to deal with kinda wasn't. Well, to be fair, I feel like that's what sets apart good cartoons from mediocre ones these days. Anyway, if the show was so good, why did it get cancelled after its second season? I don't think they ever officially confirmed the reason why they got cancelled, but the rumor was it was because they didn't sell enough toys. Could you imagine some shit like that happened to Invincible? I would walk into Target with a gun, I would grab all the Invincible toys, and I would go to where everyone's lining up to check out, and I would just throw them in to people's carts. But then a blessing came down from the heavens and revived the show to say, buckle up you sons of bitches, we're back in. But here we are, 2 years later after its revival, and guess what? It's cancelled again. And you know what's funny? After all this drama, I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care it's cancelled. I appreciate the effort, the care, the artistry that was put into the show to make it possible, but I think at this point it's better to just leave it in the dirt to never be found again. Just like Kid Flash. By the way, if I sound kind of weird, it's because I'm sick, so I'm sorry. Recording this video is taking around like 90% of my body's energy, so yeah. Reason 1 on why we should leave Young Justice behind. The characters were just not it anymore. So listen, the amount of new characters that the show was adding every season was frankly getting quite ridiculous. So after season 1, we enter a 5-year time skip and suddenly we're balls deep in a new roster of characters. Sure, there's some intrigue about, oh, what happened to these guys? Why is he a bad guy? Why did they break up? But you know what would have been better? To see Dick Grayson go from Robin to Nightwing. To see Jason Todd's time as Robin. To see Dick Grayson go from Robin to Nightwing. Yes, I said that twice to emphasize how badly they fucked up by not showing that. Okay, sure, season 2 added a bunch of new characters, but there's still an overall focus on the original team who are far and fucking beyond the most interesting characters. So after season 2, it got cancelled and revived, so after 7 years, fans are really excited to see the gang back together again, right? It must have been a crazy fucking season. Nope, because the creators decided to focus on 3 new characters who were, to put it lightly, not the most interesting characters. I couldn't even tell you why they went in the direction that they did. So they bring in 3 new characters, Geoforce, Forager, and Halo. Listen, I love Troy Baker's work, I think it's a fantastic voice actor, but hearing his weird European accent over and over again made me want to slam my head through the screen over and over again. And speaking of voices, Forager's voice was not it. Anyone who remembers what he sounded like knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Forager apologizes to Forager.
But Forager must admit, Forager is surprised Forager gave up Forager's seat at the conference. Forager would not have made such a choice. Forager...
Stop it. Get some help.
And then for some reason, we focused on Black Lightning this season as well because he has PTSD or something. I get that this kind of thing is important to talk about sometimes, but this is a Young Justice show. I don't give a shit about Black Lightning, bro. Change the show's name to Middle-Aged Justice if you're gonna do some shit like this.
Go ahead, zap me. Absorbing lightning's totally my thing.
You've never had Black Lightning before.
When you watch season 1, you kind of get the sense that they're all family with hijinks and all. But with new people coming up every season, it's like you're trying to cover an entire pizza base with 4 pieces of shredded cheese. I don't know if that made sense, but what I'm trying to say is I feel like eating some pizza right now. Reason 2 to why we should leave Young Justice behind. It was never gonna end. Greg Weisman, one of the creators of the show, who also created Spectacular Spider-Man, by the way. So basically, in my books, this guy can shank a kid in the middle of the streets and I'll be like, guys, I know that's bad, but he created Spectacular Spider-Man, so maybe we should give him a little leeway or... Anyway, this is what Greg Weisman said about Young Justice getting more seasons. There will never be a proper ending to Young Justice. Ever. So we'll either get more seasons or we won't. Meanwhile, we have a game plan for at least 3 more seasons figured out. By the time we finish those, we'd probably have 3 more. Okay, before we overreact, I know that Young Justice was always about exploring the DC universe, and that there'll always be a new generation of heroes, and there'll always be a new Young Justice, a younger Justice, but... fuck. I would rather let the show focus on a single set of characters. Let us watch them grow and change, and finally let them beat the enemies they've been warring against since the first season. That's like saying, hey guys, we're gonna replace Grant Gustin's Barry Allen with Wally West because the show's called The Flash, and there will always be a Flash. Like, what makes you think that I'm gonna invest more of my time into the show when my main emotional investment is not there anymore? Oh my god, it's like 10 degrees outside and somehow I'm sweating. Holy shit. Anyways, that previous reason, that brings me to reason 3. The stories were just taking way too long to be resolved. Alright, if you've at least seen the first season, you know the bad guys is a group called The Light, which is the collection of supervillains, basically a little Legion of Doom. And this group, they basically stick around for the entire show, and it's revealed that they're teaming up with Darkseid to invade Earth. The thing is, this team up was revealed at the end of season 2. Do you know who the main villain for season 4 was? General Zod. Yes, General Zod, the Superman villain. God knows why they thought General Zod needed to be included in the show. I bet if the show would have continued, you would have had to wait until at least like season 50 to see Darkseid just take a step on Earth. And I brought up Jason Todd earlier, and that was for good reason. You know why? Because he's fucking alive. I'm sorry, but when they showed that he was alive and not dead, that infinitely became the most interesting mystery in the entire show. In case you didn't know or remember, they also structured season 4 a bit differently too. They must have realized that no one really gave a shit about the new characters, so they gave each of the OG characters a 3 to 4 episode story arc. And you know who they saved for last? Nightwing. Cool. And what was his arc about? Confronting Jason Todd and all the events that led up to Jason Todd's death. Kidding, you fucking moron. It was about bringing the team together and fighting General Zod. Wait, you're gonna tell me that when you think of a Nightwing story, you don't think of one where he barely has a role and has to fight a Superman villain? Come on, dude.
You're crazy.
And I know I might get some hate for this, but Beast Boy in season 4, he goes through some depression. And when I say depression, I mean depression. I understand that it's good to get an accurate representation of what depression does to someone, but to just see for half the season a kid just lie in his bed, get angry at his friends, family, and teammates, it doesn't exactly make for good TV. His depression was infectious with me at that point. There's a difference between accuracy and drama, because otherwise that new Hitman movie, it would have been boring as balls. So yeah, I'm no longer excited to get blue-balled by Young Justice, nor am I fucking clamoring for a new season. Just let things fall where they may. That's not the right saying, but still. Alright, that's all I have for this week. Check out my second... Fuck, I'm sweating so much. Check out my second channel. Check out my Instagram, my Letterboxd, my music, my TikTok maybe. I might have given up on that by the time this video comes out. And yeah, check out my other videos, I guess. I don't know. I'll see you next week.
And 1-5 in the open night.